First of all, I have to explain that a mode is often referred to as like a scale of the major scale. So you have 7 modes. We have Ionian. Do y'all know these already? Maybe not. It might be new for many of you. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian. I'm going to use my fingers. Ionian's 1. Dorian is 2. Phrygian is 3. Lydian is 4. Mixolydian is 5. Aeolian is 6. And 7 is the Locrian mode. These are just the names that are associated to the different degrees of the major scale. So in jazz, the most common one is to focus on the Dorian mode, the 2. So if you're in the key of C, what's the 2 of C? D, and it's D minor specifically. So if everybody could play a D minor 7 chord like this. Now if I said play Dorian mode, you might be like, I don't know what that is. I just say play a C major scale. But specifically if you started on D, that's where you get the term D Dorian. So I'm going to show you a quick fingering. If you just want to copy me. Yeah, D, E, F, or I'll yell it out in tabs, 5, 7, 8. And I'm just playing it to the shape. I'm big on playing to the chord shapes, as you all know. That's 1, 2, I'm going to talk numbers too, the formula. 1, 2, flat 3 of the D minor, 4, 5. Now that alone does not yet define the Dorian mode. We need this next note. Da, that's the 6th degree. Beautiful note in jazz. D minor 7 with the 6. Da, 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 da. Then we're going to add on the flat 7. Da, da. The flat 7 is important. That's part of the minor 7 chord. Da, 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 da. Really don't... embrace that 6th degree. Da, 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 da. So that's the scale that you would use for improv. But again, if you know your C major scale all over the fretboard or whatever, it's just a C major scale. The modes can be really confusing. Again, it's just a different starting point on the major scale. So it's just a C major scale. Sometimes if I'm playing with somebody who's not a jazz player or they're trying to improvise, I'd say, play a C scale, but I'm playing D minor 7. So in the key of C, D minor 7 is the 2. E minor 7 is the 3. And that's really what Miles Davis was focusing on in the mode, what we know is like the Dorian style modal jazz. You do this. Your comping would be D minor 7 to E minor 7. Those 2 7th chords alone define the mode. So get used to sliding. Now specifically the voicing that we want in this song, in modern style jazz, I would call this more modern and swing style, is minor 11. And this is all on that worksheet too, but it's this shape. So let me talk about what an 11 is. 11 is a 4. It's just up an octave. So jazz players like to call these extensions. So we'll just call it an 11, but it's a 4th degree. Well, go back to your CL like this. That's your 4. 1, 2, flat 3, because it's minor, 4. So instead of this shape for D minor 7 like this, you're just going to remove this finger, the 5th, and go to the 4. And now we get this really, quote, modern voicing of stacked 4ths, perfect 4ths, like this. D, G, C, F. And we can slide it like this. Beautiful. Again, that's that sound, that modal vibe right there. Yeah, jazz piano players love it, especially like McCoy Tyner. Again, modal jazz, Coltrane used it. It really just bled into everything. So this is a quick and easy way to, what I'm showing you right here, I'd like for everybody to do this. So we're going to do this. And you can bar all the way across. I heard this note. You can go. You can bar, just simply bar all the way across if you want. So your finger's acting like a capo here, but we don't want this chord. We need that note there. That's what makes it minor, and then move it down. Or if you want, you can just do part of it. You can just do this. You can grab any part of the 5 notes here, and then I'll show you the riff. Then we're playing So What. So basically, it's a D minor type of a riff, and then we go. It's like a call and response. And that's actually played in the melody on Miles Davis is played in the bass by Paul Chambers. So and it repeats, and that's the phrase. Just there's really subtle variations off this. The melody is just the riff. I'll call it the melody. It's just right out of the scale, and I'm fingering it. For me, it's easier to do it like this instead of this. I would suggest maybe try out some different ways, but this works best for me. I'm just putting the D here. Yeah. This is how I tapped it out. So yeah, if you don't want to try to get the riff with me, just slowly. And if you don't like using your pinky, you might want to try to figure out another way of doing it. But I'm starting here on D, and then I'm going to the A. That's the root fifth, right up the scale. 6, flat 7, root octave, 9, 2, back to the flat 7, and then the root. So it's, what beat does it start on? 1. And then it has some subtle variations. But I'd say just get this. And as we just said, the and of 1. So it's 3. And there's a light swing feel to it. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm being really specific because this is all part of the arrangement. The band's going to do this together. You know, if you're pretend this is jazz combo today. Were you in jazz combo? Seems like you were. If we're in combo class together, we just want to make sure that we're hitting those, rhythmic hits together. So it's on 3, and it's on the and of 4. It's basically what's called the Charleston rhythm displaced. So instead of 1, 2, and, it's 3, 4, and. So it's 1, the chord. I'm talking about the chord. It's 1, 2. You all probably just feel it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just want to make it nice and short. But now the hard part, the fun part, is to try to put that melody back in and then add in the chord, those little chord stabs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And at the same time, it goes like this. It goes to the 5th degree there. Okay, so that's the variation there. Yeah. 2. Good. And just do that again. Just as I drink my coffee, go ahead and just try that out. I'll make sure you got that much. It's a fun song to play. You'll be playing it all week. Right? So the next part is So the phrase 3 is the same as phrase 1. Is that? I guess I didn't think about that. And then the last phrase, 4 phrases, and then it goes da 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 dum. Top. Now it repeats. That's the A section. That's 3, 4. And if we just did it twice there, that would be 8 bars and 8 bars. That's 16 bars. So that would be our A section twice, and we would just say AA, form-wise. This song, great players, they get lost, and it's easy to get lost. You'll see why when we jam on it. Because there's only one, it's one chord without any movement. The movement is just kind of goofing around as I demonstrated with the PDFs that I sent out comping in this style. But it's really easy to get lost because it's not like the other jazz style where we have functional harmony, or like it resolves 5-1. That's functional harmony, or 2-5-1 for that matter. It's just staying on one chord. That's called a static chord. You can even think of it as a vamp. And that was kind of the whole movement. Is just to allow the improviser to really stretch out and get kind of outside, inside, whatever you want, but not be restricted to going 2-5-1, 2-5-1 like all the other jazz standards, you know. So this is kind of a little bit rebellious to that style. Just you know, grooving essentially on one chord. Not much different later from like funk vamps, you know, staying on one chord, just going, you know, for one chord, jamming on that. So this might have paved the way for that. Miles Davis was definitely an innovator. So again, that was 16 bars. That's your A section twice. And then what happens for the B section? It goes up a half step. Those of you who in my Django Reinhardt classes know how Django loved the movement of half steps. He wrote a song called Appel Direct that goes modulates up a half step just like this. And I say Django wrote the first modal song, because to me that Appel Direct is basically like So What, but it's written in 1930s. So anyways, go up a half step, take your same lick, and then we're back home. So back to D minor. So that 8 bars, the B section is E flat minor Dorian. When you see a lead sheet chart from like a fake book, a Howlander or whatever, the real book, it'll say solo D minor for Dorian. It'll actually say it for the improviser. D minor Dorian, A and A, 16 bars. B section, E flat minor Dorian, 8 bars, and then the A section, D Dorian for, again, the last 8 bars. So the form, standard song form, 32 bar song form, A, but for us improvisers or comping, we're just thinking D Dorian, 16 bars, E flat Dorian, which is what key, by the way, what major key? E flat Dorian. E flat Dorian is a key of D flat major. So if you just wanted to run your major scale, you could just think D flat major Ionian scale, or just a major scale, and it's going to sound like the Dorian mode. And then back home to D Dorian. Any questions? Do you guys want to play along?
Are we challenged by the idea of playing along?
We won't listen to all of it, so let's listen to some Miles Davis now. And that was pretty fast, as I had you guys. Oh, he doesn't do that note. He just stays was educational for me. He didn't go da 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 da. He went ba da ba da ba dee ba dee dum. So the bass just played that same melody. He didn't do the. He went actually. So he just kept there. So. So he went like this. Not this. But he would kind of use that as a pick-up note into that. So that was the bass playing the melody again. People might do it slightly different, but that gives you the idea again of what it's all about. Let's listen to Miles Davis do some soloing. And if you want to lightly comp underneath him, just do this. And maybe this. Kind of loosely. Maybe this little kind of filling it. You don't have to do the formal da da behind him. It's just kind of a loose comping style. Okay, not true. He actually is doing that. You can just kind of do that. Ready? Up a half step. Right here. And back to D minor. Minor 9 there. Now that note that Miles was hanging on there, that's the 9th degree. But that's like listening to the Ronny Jordan. That was what he was really focused on. Da, 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 da. It's a really beautiful color, the 9th degree. So that note would be what note if you're on D minor?
E.
Yeah, the E. So just go up to the 9 is the same as a 2. So play this note. Da, da. And if you do this, here's a 3. But instead of hanging on the chord tone, this is the 9, the color, the extension. Da. You have to really just kind of embrace it, because your ear might want to go to the root. But you have to really just land on the note. Just hit it a few times. Da, 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 da. And then not only that, let's go to the 11. You're going to hear Miles go, da, da, da. So the 11 is the G. Same as a 4, right? So you have da, da, da. Yeah. Yeah, just like, well, you just da, 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 and then you hit the root. Da, 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 da. So here's a root, by the way. Here's D minor. Those are the first. Now I'm on the top 3 strings here. Can everybody do this with me? Now we're talking about improvisation already. But we have D, E, F, and then G, A, and then 6, da, and then the flat 7. And don't even worry about going to the root. Just hang on the flat 7. Da, 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 da. This is still swing, by the way. So we have this. And you can just kind of noodle around within that much. You don't have to play fast or anything. It's just all about kind of really cool jazz here. Just letting the notes ring and being colorful and selective about your notes and your rhythm. You can do stuff like, yeah, just go for it. Have fun. Up a half step. And then back down. Yeah, so again, this is just a really simple, beautiful approach to improv. Just playing the scale. Very scale, but we're still also kind of trying to target. That's what I'm mainly having you do, is like if you're wondering, well, what do I do besides just run a scale? Just try to choose your colors selectively. The 9, the 11, that 6th degree. So it's just really it's a simple approach to improv. This is a great way to get into jazz by playing modal jazz before you start adding a lot of other chords. Because later on, once you have tunes that have a lot of movement, you'll already have a good foundation of trying to be simple and melodic. You love that 9. Little blue note. You can always get kind of bluesy too. That's the new key there, right? You could just practice maybe little scale patterns. And back. Again, he's really focusing on those colors, the 9 and the 11. It really is influenced a lot of people, this approach, this method. So again, you have D minor 7. By thinking off that 11 and the 9, you get the E, get the G. Yeah, you get those nice colors. Yeah. Any questions on that at all? Just give it a try. Again, we're talking about, this is kind of the whole thing about modal jazz. Of course, you could just run a scale, but it's not quite as fun as kind of playing, kind of being a painter essentially, just kind of creating nice colors and trying to solo, being colorful in your just choice of notes. Of course, you're going to hear different approaches to improv as you listen to the different soloists. This guy named John Coltrane. As many of you know, he's the composer of Giant Steps, one of the hardest songs. We're not going to learn that, or maybe we will at the end. One of the hardest songs in the jazz book. But let's just listen. He's on the E flat minor. Here's the D minor. Back. He's adding some other stuff. Y'all heard the modulation?
Yeah.
Good. Anyways, that's it. That's the modal. There's your first modal jazz tune. There's other tunes that I would recommend. John Coltrane wrote a tune called Impressions. There's a Freddie Hubbard tune called Little Sunflower. There's a lot of great modal jazz songs. We're going to switch gears though for the remainder of the session, and this will bleed into next week's session too. Is the classic Take 5 by Dave Brubeck Quartet. It has a little chromatic note that makes it bluesy. So here's how I like to teach and play the melody myself. I think of it as this triad. We know this shape on the guitar as an A minor shape down here. So if I slide this A minor shape here, up here, it's now E flat minor. So those are the first 3 notes of the melody. You just kind of hold that shape if you want. I'm swinging it a little bit.